Look around. Everywhere you look, something is happening. Wars breaking out. Trade conflicts escalating. Migration crises. Political polarization. Cities changing almost overnight. Social change. Protests and riots. Identity tensions. Cost of living crisis. Institutions questioned. History reinterpreted. And a wealth gap that seems to explode right in front of us. Every headline demands your attention. Urgent, urgent, urgent. And after a while, you start to feel something. Something about this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like a coherent story anymore. It feels like chaos. And slowly, almost quietly, a deeper feeling sets in. That something about the world no longer quite adds up. Like the rules keep changing. Like the world you thought you understood no longer behaves the way you expect it to. It feels a bit like Alice in Wonderland. And if you've had that feeling, that something about the world just doesn't add up anymore, you're not alone. I felt it too, years ago. So I did what most people do. I leaned in. I followed the news more closely. Politics, economics, global conflicts. I started reading more. I listened to experts. I tried to understand what was happening, but something unexpected happened. The more information I consumed, the less the world seemed to make sense. The explanations didn't match the outcomes. And the deeper I dug, the more questions appeared, until eventually something became clear. The problem wasn't the events. It was the framework I was using to interpret them. And there was something else. That feeling that the world had become less predictable, less linear, isn't just personal. It shows up at certain moments in history. Moments when systems that once felt stable begin to come under pressure. When economic, political, and social structures start to stretch and sometimes strain. In those moments, the world feels less intuitive, more fragmented, not because everything has suddenly become irrational, but because the systems behind it are changing. And when systems change, the world stops feeling linear. And once you start to see that pattern, something else becomes clear. What we're experiencing may not be random change at all. It may be part of a larger cycle, a phase where existing systems are tested and new ones begin to emerge. Not predicting the future, but recognizing the patterns that shape it. And that is where the name comes from. The next big cycle. Most discussion stays on the surface. What happened today? Who said what? Who is responsible? But the forces shaping those events operate much deeper. Economic incentives, institutional structures, demographic pressures, long-term political dynamics. In other words, systems. And once you start looking at events as signals from those deeper forces, something shifts. The chaos doesn't disappear, but it starts to make sense. Patterns begin to emerge. Signals start to appear inside the noise. At that point, you're faced with a choice. You can stay in Wonderland, reacting to every headline, every controversy, every explanation. Or you can step back, stop focusing on the surface, and start asking what forces are actually producing what you see. That shift sounds small. It isn't. It changes everything. What once looked like randomness starts forming patterns. Confusion turns into insight. And over time, that insight becomes something rare, foresight. Not predicting the future, but recognizing the dynamics that make certain outcomes more likely than others. And at some point, you realize something important. What you see wasn't chaos. It only looked like chaos because you didn't see the structure or the order behind it. Because when the world feels like Alice in Wonderland, the first step isn't arguing about what you see. The first step is to stop, look closer, and ask better questions. What rules are actually at play? What incentives are shaping the outcomes? What larger forces might be at work beneath the surface? That shift, from reacting to questioning, from noise to signal, can change everything. If you've ever had that moment where the world suddenly felt a little like Alice in Wonderland, you're not alone. And you're welcome to join this community of people who ask better questions and seek to understand the forces behind what they see. Because when the world feels like Wonderland, the first step isn't to argue about what you see. It's to pause, look closer, and begin to understand what's really going on. If this feels familiar, the next step is learning how to make sense of it. In part 2 of this video, I'll show you exactly how to use the next big cycle to do that. Because understanding always begins the same way, by refusing to stay in Wonderland. See you in the next one.